Hey, everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. I wanted to talk about concerts that I've been to over the years. Now, I haven't been to hardly any, probably the last 10 years. Um, I think the most recent one I was at was Public Enemy in 2009. And in 2009, I was 42 years old or closing in on my 42nd birthday. And Public Enemy, those guys are all in their 50s at the time. To their credit, they gave a great show. A lot of people were not there to see them. It was a weird mix of bands. There was Jurassic 5, if you ever heard of them. I forgot who the lead guy was, somebody from a famous band, and I can't remember who he was, but or maybe it was the guy from Jurassic 5, and there was another band. I can't remember. And then they had Public Enemy, and then they had like some hipster band called Carl Denson's Tiny Universe or something like that. That's what and the hipsters were doing their typical millennial hipster thing. This is back when the millennials were like in their 20s, and they're around 30, and they just thought they were fucking king shits of Turd Island. God, I love using that. I know I haven't used that in these videos yet, but I love using that saying. It's something a couple coworkers of mine used to say, but they really did. They acted just like they were not there for the first two acts, which is fine, but you don't have to be dicks about it. I had something thrown at me because I was really into Public Enemy. I was like, and I literally had people throw shit at me. I'm like, grow up, man. Of course, they didn't do it bravely. Nobody turned around, threw shit at my face. They were throwing it at me from behind. I'm like, whatever. Nothing hit me, but something came close a couple times. I was like, you guys need to get a life. But hopefully they saw me in my bright orange Islanders hat walk out after Public Enemy, because me and my brother Sean were there, and we didn't give a shit about Carl Denson's Tiny Universe. So take that, millennials. now, usually I don't like to group by generation because we have great people and assholes in every generation. But that was one of those times where, yeah, all these man bunned, don't give a shit about anything. I was like, fuck off. Anyway, let's not focus on the negative though, shall we? I'm going to try to go through like a timeline. I don't know if I'm going to get them all because I had like in the late 80s, early 90s, I went to a lot of concerts. I'll start with my first concert, and I was late on the concert track. First concert I tried to go to was in high school, 1983 Synchronicity Tour, when the Police were absolutely monstrous, and at the time they sold out the concert in 73 minutes. My mom got me there a little late. Not really her fault. I think even if I had been on time, we probably would have gotten tickets. So it was at the old Westland Mall where there was, I guess there was a Ticketmaster location there. But we looked at the line, we're like, no, this isn't going to happen. We're not going to get tickets. But so I had to wait another couple of years until 1985. I was already out of high school. It was the summer after high school. It was August of 85. Went and saw Huey Lewis and the News because they were monstrous at the time. What was Back to the Future had come out, where they did Power of Love on that, and before that, like a couple of years before that, they had put out Sports, which is a monster album, and it was a lot of fun. And the Neville brothers opened. And many of you know who Aaron Neville is. He became more famous on his own than with his brothers, but they opened. They were kind of like, I guess you'd call it like Zydeco or Cajun type of flavored music. It was good, and it was a good filler to get into Huey Lewis. A lot of people. It was funny. You wouldn't expect a Huey Lewis crowd to smoke a lot of weed, but they're definitely pot smokers. It's any out. It was at Red Rocks, by the way. Huey Lewis was the first band to sell out Red Rocks 4 times, which is pretty amazing. They had to add. I think they started off with 2, and then they had to add 2 more nights. I think they were going to go Friday and Saturday, and they sold tickets so fast. I think they bookended them with the Thursday and the Sunday of that weekend. It was nuts. Girl Flash Me, that was awesome. It was just a hilarious time, and of course the music was great. It was Huey, and it's Red Rocks. Every concert at Red Rocks is good. So yeah, and maybe I'll just go by venue. Like I saw some really good stuff at Red Rocks later on in like 1990. I saw Depeche Mode. I believe Nights Are Ebb opened for them. The reason I smile about Nights Are Ebb is in my last video I mentioned a lot of dark bands I listened to at Rock Island and danced to. Nights of Ebb was one of them. Really just almost a lot of people called it trash can music. It was just pounding and screaming, but danceable. So yeah, I saw them. Who else I see at Red Rocks? I saw Sting at Red Rocks like in 91, 92. He was really good. I saw Sting at Fiddler's Green. He was really good then too. I saw him for his second album at Fiddler's Green, his third album at Red Rocks, so that was awesome. Trying to think some more Red Rocks concert. Oh, I saw the Beastie Boys at Red Rocks in 2008, and they had no one open for them, which I've never been to a concert where no one opened for them, and they brought it for like 2 full hours. The Beastie Boys brought it. There's a funny moment at that concert where, if you've been to a concert in the last, probably, this is '08, so probably the last 15, 20 years, they sell all kinds of crazy stuff. And they had a guy selling all this glowy stuff and lighting stuff, and it's really twinkly and sparkly, and whoo, I'm surprised people weren't having seizures. This guy, it's a sea of darkness out there, and there's this guy, the vendor of this stuff just has it like piled up, and and Mike D stops the concert. He goes, "What the fuck is that?" Because it does. It's got to look crazy from the stage, looking out into a sea of darkness, and there's just this one big bulb of just flashing crazy colors. And like, it was funny because MCA's like, "Yeah, man, that guy sells those things. It's like all that lighty shit you see around." He's like, "Oh, okay." And then they started the music. It was really funny. But yeah, that was a really good concert. I've seen the Beastie Boys 3 times. One of the best concerts I ever saw was in 1987. $13, by far the best value concert I've ever seen, was Fishbone. If you don't know who they are, you should if you're my age. Their biggest song is Party at Ground Zero, which I used to, there's another band that I got a bloodied nose slam dancing to Party at Ground Zero at Rock Island back in the 80s. I got to see them open for the Beastie Boys. Actually, it was a punk band called Murphy's Law, then Fishbone, and then the Beastie Boys. Now, this is off of their first album, Licensed to Ill, so they were all still like my age, which at the time was like 20, 21 years old. Actually, I was 19 when I saw that concert. And so they were a little older than me, but they were very immature, just happy to be celebrating that first album and touring. And they're just throwing beers. The whole concert, in between songs, them throwing beers to each other, like across the stage. I remember Fishbone, the trombonist, took the trombone, threw it all the way across the stage, and went across like the 40-foot stage. Dude caught it on the other end, started playing it. It's a crazy concert. It was great. It was $13 to see those 3 bands. Like I said, by far the best bargain I've ever seen. Saw a lot of concerts with my ex-wife. I went to Lollapalooza in 1991. That was the second one. A lot of great bands. Pearl Jam before anyone knew who they were. And Eddie Vedder put on a show. Eddie Vedder was nuts. He put the microphone in his mouth like a pirate, and looked like a knife in his mouth like a pirate, and he's climbing up the curtains at Fiddler's Green. It was nuts. But that was a great, really, really good Lollapalooza. Red Hot Chili Peppers was there. Sorry, and this is just my mind spinning. I got to see The Cure also at Fiddler's Green. Saw, they used to be called Tones on Tail. Love and Rockets opened for them. That was great. Let's see. I'm trying to think of smaller venues. Here's a good one. This is right after Dylan and I got married in 96, maybe 97. There's a really cool place in Cleveland. So we were living in Cleveland at the time. And it's called Kane Park. And it's a cool park. It's a good-sized park, and they have a little amphitheater. Now, it's nothing compared to Red Rocks. It's just like a hill that they kind of dug out and put some seats in. But it's a very nice amphitheater, or a nice little amphitheater. And Brian Setzer Orchestra played there, and we got to see that. And that dude's amazing. I don't know if he's still gigging. He's probably well into his 60s at this point. If you remember the Stray Cats, he was the lead guitarist and singer of the Stray Cats. And that dude can absolutely just bust a guitar, just an amazing, and he has an entire orchestra backing him up now. And he came out just playing the 007 James Bond theme, just and we're just like, holy shit. Because you hear the Stray Cats, and you're like, okay, that's simple rock music, and it's rockabilly, and it's a lot of fun. But then 10 years later, you see this guy and have no idea some of the musicians that are behind some of these bands. And Brian Setzer was such a guy. There's another good memory in Cleveland is Dylan and I went and saw a band called the Scotalites. Now, a lot of people have never heard of this band, which is kind of a crime. And I felt very ignorant because I didn't know who the hell they were. They're pretty much considered the first ska band. They're a lot of island dudes, a lot of Black Island guys. And they're almost like Menudo. If you remember the dance singing group Menudo, Puerto Rican band, you get like 17 and they kick you out. Well, that's not true with the Scotalites, but they would reload dudes. But they were like guys in their 60s, this is back in 96, 97, blowing sax with dreads down to their ass, gray dreads. And but they're considered the first ska band. We went and saw them. It was like some basement club down in the flats in downtown Cleveland. And there was no one there. There were literally like 5, 6 people there. There were more band members than people. And Dylan's just skanking and dancing to it. And that was an amazing concert. I'm sure there are more, but that's a good one to end on. Thanks for checking it out, guys. I'll get to you guys tomorrow. Happy November. I hope you have a good month. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving. But I got a lot to talk about before then. See you soon. See you later. See you something. Bye.